That was nothing. All in a day's work for a night, you know?
Neat!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Neca Dungeons & Dragons, Strongheart, and Zarak, and just kind of show these minis that are over here too. But pretty exciting. I really love this line. I really hope they do all 19 characters, and this is the first 4 that we have gotten, and there's one more on the way, Elkhorn. But we're going to take a look at these. They look fantastic. I did get these at Target. I had them pre-ordered through BBTS, but I canceled them because I found them at Target much cheaper. And so with that, let's get in and take a look at both of these guys, and we'll talk about comparisons, and hopefully more of these come in the future. Coming up. Here's the packaging, and it kind of straddles the line of a little bit like the original LJN, but not exactly. Of course, it's in a box instead of a blister, and I wouldn't mind if they did like reissues of these and they had them looking more retro version. I mean, I'd buy that, especially if it was on a card with a blister card. I would be all over that. But that's what they look like in the packaging. Got everything packed in there. Looks like you get quite a bit of value. They are $35 at Target, plus you get 5% off for your red card, so that's a good deal. And then right now, there's if you have Target Circle, then you get 10% off your entire order, so you can make quite a big savings with this if you buy them at Target. But also, real quick, I'm just going to show these. The reason I got this set, they don't scale with anything, and I don't really like the aesthetic of this type of figure. The only reason I got it is because you're not going to get this dude, or probably the horse, any other way. So I got this. I don't even know if I'm going to open it. I know that I have it. I'm happy to have it. I really want all of this stuff made in the 6-inch scale. Or even if they just made it to work with your original LJN figures. All right, the first one I want to take a look at is the Strongheart. And he is a magnificent looking figure. Even if you don't care about Dungeons & Dragons and you just want a knight, or you'd like to get a few knights, this dude would work. He looks excellent as a knight. And I also want to say that for the most part, I would say the LJN figure was a little bit on the lame side. It did look like a knight. There was a shinier one that I thought was a bit better than the standard one, but this one, it just looks so real. They did such a good job with this, and I usually don't like any of that kind of wash on it, but it has a bit of a wash, like as if it's metal that's tarnished, that's been through some battles. It just looks really good. And normally I'd be like, I just wanted to look brand new and bright and shiny, and that's how I like my stuff. But this does have a real look, a gritty, real look to it, just kind of like the other figures do. And it looks fantastic. I like the chainmail on it, and I guarantee you if they were making Eric, which we're going to compare him to here in a little bit, Eric would have the blue on there like he's supposed to. He does have kind of a rubbery, I don't know what you call this, skirt, kilt skirt. He does have chains. Now, I do like that these aren't like the metal ones that broke on the Warduke. These are rubbery. That's nice. But it's a really nice touch. Like, so much detail in this $35 figure. Amazing. He's got his hammer mallet going on there, which I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, but it's cool that he's got it. Like a Thor hammer. It's got like a little bit of a rubbery type of handle there. And then down there at the bottom, great detail on those boots. And then like just this other little bit here looks so cool. And the original LJN didn't have a shield, but let's get into looking at the rest of his accessories. Look at the hands, and then we'll get back to the sword and the shield. All right, so we're kind of zoomed in on these hands. You get a sort of a fist, but also looks like it can hold stuff. You get an actual holding hand. These are the left side. Fist, another holding hand, and tighter holding hand, and then an sort of open hand, which I actually have on him. And there it goes. And I do suggest that you use the left holding kind of open hand to hold the shield. I think that looks really good. And the shield, it looks like wood on this side, and then painted nicely on that side. Looks really good. It's got these straps. And they've done these shields before, but the other shields kept falling off. This one stays on really well. So I actually do like that. And then here he is, where he looks like he could be standing here ready to pull his sword out of his sheath. And that looks really good. And And I will say with Neca, I do kind of have to fiddle with them to get them to stand just right. But when you get them standing, they stand. But I don't feel like there's any quality issues with this. No paint issues that I've seen. But let's get into the sword. And then the sword goes into the sheath. He does have this sort of rubbery holder for the sword you can slide that into. And here is the sword. It looks really good. Just a basic, simple sword. We'll do comparisons of this to what LJN gave us. Of course, obviously, this is way better than what LJN gave us. But you also are surprised, you got like a little dagger that's just tied onto there. Is the dagger... Yeah, that is so cool. Like, I never would have thought of that. I've never really seen anything like that before on a figure like this. But that is Strongheart. As for articulation, I don't really like to go through like the full realm of articulation. I do know his head's a little bit loose. And he has a joint here, a joint here. I've never broken NECA. I don't want to break a NECA figure. But I will say that when we get to Zarak, he's got double jointed elbows. I don't see the double jointed elbows on this guy. But I don't want to tempt fate. I mean, I'm going to pose him just enough to get what I want out of him. I'm not going to go to town with NECA figures. I do understand that there is that possibility of them breaking. And I don't do dynamic poses with them. Also, I want to show real quick. This is adjustable. It open and close, and yes, his head is super loose. Maybe I just don't have it pushed on there hard enough, but oh, and a soft goods cape. But we'll see this more in comparison. Now we're going to go into Zarak, and it's always funny because that's the name of the head on the Transformer, Zarak. Anyway, this figure is a really cool figure, but I wasn't looking forward to it because I did not really care so much about the LJN one. It was like another one on the list. Okay, I got it, got his weapon, move on. And with that, I just didn't seem to care about that much. And then there was the Battlematic version, and I just felt like I kind of got sick of seeing it because it was very, very common figure. Well, here's the thing, because it's a common figure, more people had it when they were a kid, so there's more people that would want this character. So it makes sense to me now, because I never had him as a kid. So there's that nostalgia factor. That's probably why they picked him next. Anyhow, so we're going to see all the common figures first, and then the rare ones might not get made. He does come with a bunch of accessories. Now, because he's small, they make up for it in accessories. I don't really think the overall package feels like it's like the figure is worth as much as, say, all of the other ones. But he does look really cool, and once you kind of see what he does, it's great. First of all, he does have two heads, so we'll swap heads here in a bit, but I like the hood that's on it. And then he's got this is signature with the vintage, and then he's got... So this looks a little different than his vintage one. I actually think that these look closer to his vintage dagger, so that's cool. And then he's got all this soft goods that's kind of rubbery, and it's separate pieces that were on there. I'm sure you can take it off if you want to. I'm not risking it or messing with it. And he's got this. This is kind of rubbery, and then a little bit of articulation. I'm not here for the articulation, but he does have that double joint. There's an elbow joint here and an elbow joint there. It's like a bicep joint, and it does go up. So I was surprised to see that, probably because his arms are short, so one joint won't get the job done. Or, hey, we've got to do something to make this figure worth the $35 price point. But anyway, let's go and get into accessories. I want to start out by saying I do really like this whatever, the vial of whatever's in there, blood, I don't know, potion. That is cool. That is really cool. And then he also has this, we looked at this big dagger. We could take that out of his hand, and we can put this in his hand if you want to. It's like a grapple kind of thing that's going on. And he's got a rope for it, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, interesting. I don't know what I would use that for so much. It's just something cool to have. And then he's got these. Now, these both go into these holsters, which they look nice. Nice looking holsters that he has. A dual holster. So there's a lot of stuff that is really cool. Great stuff that they came up with. You start to wonder sometimes, like, what are they coming up with? What can they be doing that is going to be different than LJN, but still pay homage to it. Now, he also has these hands, and I don't use all of these different hands, but down here, try to zoom that in, with these hands, you've got the fists, you've got the sort of open hands, grasping hand. He's got a grasping hand on there also, and then a more open hand, and then, of course, this head, which we will swap out right now. Here is his head swapped out. It looks crazy and creepy. And I kind of think you can get the hood off this. And so you can have the hood on either one. But I bet under here you don't have the ears. I think the ears are why. I don't think the hood would accommodate the ears. I don't know. But I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to put the hood on it because I want it to look as close to LJN as possible. And again, if they came out with an LJN version, of course I would pick it up. If they had like a retro series, yeah, I'd be all over that too. All right, so doing a quick comparison, if you just look at the overall figure and you say, okay, he's got the blue hood, he's got whatever this piece, the collar piece you call it, and coming down, he's got all of these straps going on. So they added on this as kind of just extra stuff, and then this baggie is kind of some extra stuff, just to make it sort of worthwhile there. And then on the back, so this one is the Battle-Matic that I have, and you can see the baggie, he does have a baggie on the back there. So they kind of put two of them on his strap. That's kind of cool. And so, yeah, there he is versus the LJN. They did homage it very, very well. But then they gave him a whole lot of new stuff to say, hey, this is why this is an Ultimate figure versus something that LJN made 40 years ago. Which is cool. And remember, this is the same company that made more LJN unreleased figures in their SDCC pack. And just for fun, I want to show that you can put him on Good Destrier. Before we get into the comparison here, Strongheart can sit on the LJN Good Destrier. Looks like he's riding a pony. It's a pony, not a horse. Do I really want them to make scale versions of the horses? Maybe. Would we want a 7-inch scale Tiamat? I think it would be huge. That definitely would be. Well, that would be a HasLab. That's not Neca. Neca makes it. Hey, it's going to be $300. So now for some comparison to the original LJN, and I think it's really important to compare head-to-head, face-to-face, and the faces are very similar. I actually feel like Neca captured the character well, and the vintage one looks a little bit goofy in comparison. The Neca one looks a lot more realistic, but you can see that the chest armor down to this, down to the little chain they've got on there represents kind of the silver that they have for the silver thread, that's showing up on the camera. And then it gets down here, and they handled this area different than this area was handled. I wouldn't mind a repaint into a more retro style, maybe with smooth legs and stuff, but I would love that. Then down here on this the knees, that stuff that was pointed out on the knees, that's the same thing as the original one. The boots are black here. The boots are blue here. I'm not sure why they went that route, but it looks cool. It looks fine to me. The cape, this has kind of a shininess to the cape. There's a shiny sheen to it, which looks very high quality. This is just a blue cape with some speckles, some speckle paint over it, which is still fine for the time. Black belt, blue on the chest insignia, and then we have the gauntlets for the arms there. And then the sword, if we would do a quick comparison of the sword, there it is. Very similar, yet this one feels more realistic. This was just a toy. This Neca one is an adult collectible. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this Eric from Hasbro, which sort of looks like an item. He's got the chainmail, he's got some similarities in it, but I want to just compare size, quality, and this has got a lot of heft to it, looks really good, feels really good, stands, takes quite a bit to get this dude to stand, but I can still make him stand. This feels like really cheap plastic. I mean, I've kind of seen $5 figures that felt about like this, but it looks very cartoon. Head sculpt's a bit off, doesn't have the blue on the chainmail. Neca would have done it right. Now, I've gone on record saying I'm glad Hasbro's doing it, and I still sort of am glad Hasbro made these versus Neca making them, because Neca's going to take a long time. They are doing a good job, but they take a long time. These were banged out in about a year. Start to finish, from the first time we got them till the rest of them, about a year. Now you can get them on sale and clearance. Ollie's has the first wave, and Summer Wave 2 at Target's like $12 or $13. So there are some positives, some pluses to it if you're interested in picking up the animated wave. But they've gone through this all the way. Maybe Neca will go and revisit these down the road, but I doubt it. But I really want Neca to get the 19 characters from the original LJN knocked out first. Here he is in comparison to what's already out there. Let's remove the back boxes so we can see. This definitely looks like a fair fight. One dude against three. Well, that's how my neighborhood was when I grew up. It makes you tough, though. But anyhow, looking at these, let's kind of side-by-side them. And that's how it looks. This is what they've got out right now. They have an Elkhorn on the way. Yeah, this is what Elkhorn looks like. This dude's next. And of course, he's extremely common. So you got, I guess, all of the nostalgia feels for him. But yeah, that's what they've made. Looks pretty good. I'm very pleased with this. Saying when we get our 5th one, that'll be exciting. But what about the other 14? How far will they go? This line is amazing. But are there enough people that even care? I'd like to know. Alright, so this is my look at the Strongheart and Zarak from the LJN versions, NECA, Ultimates, action figures. I gotta say they're good. NECA does really good work. These figures look fantastic. And as I keep saying throughout it, I would be in on a retro version of these. I would probably actually even like those more, but these look great. I'm super excited about the future. What other figures and characters they can give us past Elkhorn. These look and homage the original, but have that modern feel. But I'm curious what you guys think about this. Do you guys have these? Are you picking these up? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And Tidarium Hanger out.